It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time we'll be focusing on the needs of the Salvation Army Food Pantry. We'll be talking with Captain Tim North of the Salvation Army about that. First of all, let's talk about our sponsors. We want to thank them so much for their support, including Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue in Newton. At Ryan's Tire and Auto, they take pride in delivering more than just tires and vehicle maintenance. They provide an unwavering commitment to great service every time. As a locally owned and operated small business, they understand the importance of building lasting relationships with their valued customers at Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue in Newton. Also by Newton Clinic, July is UV Safety Month. Whether you're hitting the beach or just running errands, don't forget to protect your skin. Wear sunscreen, cover up, and seek shade. Your future self will thank you. If you have questions about sun safety or skin checks, call or text Newton Clinic at 641-792-2112 to schedule an appointment today. And by Advantage Credit Union.
Good grades bring accolades. It's report card time again, and Advantage Credit Union is ready to reward your student for their scholastic efforts. Students K through 8 can earn up to $20 per semester by bringing their report card into Advantage Credit Union. We have a PhD in report card history and financial mathematics, so we'll reward your student for doing well in school. Simply be a member of Advantage Credit Union or open up an account for your child or grandchild with a $25 deposit, and we'll take care of the rest.
See Credit Union for details. Member NCUA.
Time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time we're talking with a guy that I haven't spoken to in a while and I need to get caught up with. That's Captain Tim North of the Salvation Army of Jasper County, and he and his wife Peggy are co-captains of the local Citadel. Yep. And I wanted to talk specifically as we start out about the food pantry, and they have all kinds of services here at the Salvation Army, but the food pantry in particular, because a while back I know that Peggy, his wife, who's a member of Newton Rotary, had mentioned that the need is great. And I'd also mention that with the big, beautiful bill that's just been signed into law by President Trump, the need might be even greater. So let's cross that topic a little bit with Captain Tim. How big is the need right now, Tim? Tell our listeners about that.
Well, number one, we have seen very much a big increase even lately. I think economy is huge. You know, we think we're doing better, but we really aren't. We're pushing 300 plus families a month through our doors. Plus, the other thing that we've just recently done is we also do the Healthy Kids program. I know it's kind of separate. That is done with the food bank in the state of Iowa, but we're seeing upwards of, I think we're looking at 500 families.
Wow.
In that aspect. So you put both those numbers together, you're talking 800 families that are getting food a month. At this point, we're even seeing the food bank where we get a lot of our food from, they're even being affected because they're not getting the stuff really that are kind of needed. So we're kind of scrambling sometimes to find the basic things, vegetables, the hamburger helpers, the pastas, those type things.
It's difficult, isn't it, to be able to get all these things. I know the grocery stores help when they can.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the things I bring up, and I know that this is an issue that people don't always hear about, you have to pay for the transportation for these items to be brought to you from the food bank and other entities. I know this because I used to, when I lived in Waterloo, work with the Northeast Iowa Food Bank, and they have the supplies in their warehouse.
Right.
But to get those items, let's say from Quaker Oats that has items on hand, to get them from point A to point B, there's a cost there.
Right. I mean, and we do have, and there's a cost period because, I mean, it depends upon where they get the food, if it's donated, or sometimes even the food bank buys the stuff so that we can get it in a bigger bulk. You know, they get a better rate, but we're still paying that. But then we're also paying, and nowadays, the the surcharge for gas, let alone the extra charge for them to handle it. So you start adding all of that up. Granted, we do get a pretty good deal, but we're still buying a lot of the food. It's not just donated. I mean, I wish we could. And then if you look at it, we work with several places, several of the grocery stores throughout the area, and we do pick up donations. But here it is. You have a staff member that we're paying. You have vehicle insurance, vehicle costs, vehicle maintenance, and gas. So yes, we're getting it, but then in turn we have the expense of transportation of getting it here too.
Wow. Yeah. So for heaven's sakes, why do you think the need is so great now, Tim?
Well, I think if you really think about it, you go buy a bag of chips. You pay the same price, but there's a lot less in it. Mm-hmm. And if you just, let alone go buy groceries, period, it's not been real cheap.
Right.
So I really think you're seeing a lot less, even with the SNAP programs already. Mm-hmm. Some of those have been cut back, so that need keeps to continue to grow because, what used to be able to be dependent upon the SNAP program, now that money's not there. So where do you get the extra food that the SNAP program didn't, cover?
Right. So I think I've spoken with you in the past about this. And if people would like to maybe get in on some of this and get help from the food pantry and the Healthy Kids program, I know they're kind of two separate entities, but maybe you can explain how that works.
Well, if they're needing food, the way we do it is we ask that you give us a call. And I will say right now, please be patient with us because we're down a staff member. So please be patient with us.
Because it takes some time.
Yeah. So with that, give us a call. This happens to be a month. Actually, July is when we have to do all of our paperwork all over again. So they'll have to come in and do paperwork. It's simple. We're not going to ask anything real intrusive, anything. It's pretty simple. It's just so that we can also be part of the Iowa Food Bank and get money, or not get money, but get stuff from them that ultimately saves us money if we're part of that, Iowa Food Bank network. But give us a call because what we usually do, especially on the food pantry, is we like to set up appointments so that you don't have to be here long. You can come in the door, let us know you're here. Right now, do 5 minutes worth of paperwork, hand us that, and we can get you out the door. One of the other reasons we have you call is so we can get you the stuff that you are going to use. And the reason I say that is, I'm one of those weird guys. I love peas, and a lot of people don't like peas. Uh-huh. So we don't want to give you peas if you're not going to use them. Mm-hmm. I mean, because what good is that?
Give peas a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Uh-huh. So that way, in turn, you're not having to sit here long. We can get you out the door, and we're getting you the stuff that you can use.
Well, and it depends on the family size, too. Right. How many kids you have. And
we need all that information so we know and can get you the proper amount. But the other thing I do want to really emphasize is we try to get you what we can, but it's not going to supply you for a month. It's it's probably less than a week is what we give you. But growing up, we learned to stretch. I mean, sometimes you learn to stretch things. It just happens. Not making any excuses, but it's not going to be 2 weeks worth of groceries. I wish we could. We just don't have the funding to do that right now. But that's also kind of not the way. We're not set up to be that 2 week thing. We're set to be kind of you can come on a monthly basis if that's what you're needing. But I'm just saying, just a reminder that can't come and, well, I'm going to get a month's worth of groceries. No,
It's usually going to be week to week. Is that what you're saying,
Yep,
Tim?
Exactly. And so, but with that said, we'll do what we can. We can get you everything we can. If it's a larger family, we'll make sure we get you, a lot of stuff. One of the advantages is with some of the places we pick up, we get some good meat and proteins, which is absolutely great because those are frozen and ready to go. I know, we've got a lot of chicken that comes in, some pork. Let's see, we're in Iowa. I wonder why we get pork. But, and there's some beef and those type things. And that's the other thing when you call, we want to make sure, if you're allergic to something, if we get in, let's say shellfish, which believe it or not, we've had, and I know there's a lot of allergies with shellfish. That way we're not giving you, again, something you're allergic to. Mm-hmm. But it's something it's going to help you sustain to get hopefully to your next point, or when.
Yeah, and there's different forms of protein too. Beans, eggs, that kind of thing too.
Yep. And believe it or not, we've actually been, even with the egg shortage, we were getting eggs.
Oh.
Matter of fact, we've got a person locally that actually fresh eggs. Can't complain about that. Fresh eggs are great. And some milk and those different things. So the best thing to do, and like I say, I reemphasize this, is give us a call first. Get an appointment. We'll sit down. We'll mark off what you want. There'll be a list of what's available. So that way, in turn, we don't get you what you don't need. Plus, we're going to get you in and out of here. Hopefully, right now it may take a little bit longer just because we have the paperwork. The Healthy Kids Iowa.
Yes. Let's transition to that.
That one, number one, watch our Facebook site because that's done twice a month, and that's a once a month thing. That is in cooperation with the food bank in the state of Iowa. It's something that the governor had sent down. We are one of the sites, and we get probably, I think we're talking about 500 plus boxes to give out per month. And again, that goes by family size. The criteria is you have to have somebody. It's between 4 and 18. So you come in a family of 6 and 3 of them are 4 to 18, you will get 3. That's what that is specifically designed for, is the kids. I mean, and it's kid-friendly type things. I've seen that they've had like SpaghettiOs. There's, I think they've had some like thin ham, sliced ham type things. Trying to remember everything that was there, but they've had some fresh. I know they've been like fresh carrots, fresh fruit, those type things that all go into those bags.
Would Lunchables qualify, or is that too too full of fat and stuff?
Well,
it's not nutritious. I'm just curious, just asking. Asking for a friend.
Yeah, exactly. What we're getting, and most of that is we actually are an agency that's doing the work. All of that is coming from the food bank directly. I
see. Okay.
So with that one, I would say personally, Lunchables are great, but this one, the state and the food bank have come together and said, here are things that we see that are very, very healthy.
Sure.
And trying to make sure that this summer kids don't go without food.
So they kind of regulate things on a nutritional level.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you really look at it, that's one of the big things if you, with school, is if you work with a child and make sure that their nutrition stays well during the summer, they are going to do better once they get back to school. Mm-hmm. The other thing is really, and I would love to see this go one more step, but maybe we'll see what develops with it, is the education part of it. Is if we could continue some type of education with it. If this continues for next year, I may even look at that, just some things that we put into those bags that ultimately will get them thinking. Because when you don't use your brain as much, you forget some things over the summer. Believe it or not, even being a young kid. I mean, studies show that.
Sure. Now, and you and I have talked about this so many times in the past with food drives and things
Yep.
of that nature, but, and I think I have the list memorized, but
Yep.
what kind of things are you in need of? And don't forget the toiletries.
Toiletries, absolutely, always. Toilet paper, paper towels, shampoos.
Diapers?
Oh, absolutely. Pull-ups, believe it or not, are one of the big things we do. So those type thing. Wipes, you got diapers, you probably need a wipe to go along with it too. But
Toothpaste.
Toothpaste. Anything you can think of that you would use for hygiene, shampoo, conditioner. I mean, I don't use conditioner, but well, maybe I do not. Anyway,
I use shampoo / conditioner.
yeah,
Both.
it's whatever my wife buys me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
it ultimately, any toiletry is huge. Hygiene, absolutely, because that's something that is overlooked. Laundry soap, believe it or not, maybe even dryer sheets. Those are great things to have. But as far as food, always as much non-perishable and I reiterate that a lot because non-perishable we can store a lot better and maybe even need to say it more about shelf stable because you can actually get shelf stable milk now that doesn't need to be in freezers and coolers. We are blessed here to have a walk-in freezer and a walk-in cooler, so we do have some room for those type things. But again, most of it is like if you got spaghetti sauce, that type of stuff. I mean, that spaghetti goes a long ways. I mean,
Sure.
I know growing up, your hamburger helpers, your tuna helpers, those type things are a big item. Cereals, breakfast cereals, canned fruit, canned vegetables. But what I would say is when you look at the canned vegetables, biggest question is, would you eat it? Or think about if there's a kid involved, would a kid eat it? Is the only reason I say that is, because I'm a guy, I absolutely love all kinds of vegetables, but I hand them to my grandkids and they go, ooh,
Not a fan of broccoli on this end.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But it's healthy for you.
Yeah, and it is. And but even stuff like that, like right now, we've got farmers that are starting to bring us sweet corn.
Sure.
I mean, so, we'll use anything. We've got, like I said, the advantage is we're blessed to have a walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer. So even some, meat. But please, if you do something like that, make sure it's wrapped, freezer wrapped, those type things. Don't bring us just, a half a bag of something. We have to look at that aspect to make sure, what the stuff we give out is okay. And when it gets to be half a bag of stuff, I'd absolutely love to say we could use it, but it's easier if it's sealed. That way, in turn, for safety of both us and the client that we hand the food to. But I'm trying to think of other things, but I think that's probably the biggest thing is shelf stable. Even I would say even if you did fruit snacks, because remember you got kids involved. Lunchables are great. I mean, we as long as we've got the space, we actually have the cooler to do it. But a lot of it really, the shelf stable, non-perishable are the best.
Now, do you communicate with other food banks and other food pantries, Tim? And is the situation the same all over the place?
We're seeing that probably within Jasper County because we also, besides running this food pantry here in Newton, and for Newton and Jasper, anybody in Jasper County can come to our food pantry. We actually take things to other food pantries throughout the week. A lot of it's bread, those type things. Matter of fact, Fridays we have a bread line here in this building.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
But we take and we help other pantries throughout Jasper County by taking those type things, those breads and those type things to them. Once a week, and again, it depends upon the area. I mean, I know we take some to Colfax. We take some, I think, down to Monroe. I don't remember all the places, but we do that. So our van that we have is going all the time.
By the way, I was going to compliment you on your new van. I don't know how new it is, but it's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah.
But your van looks pretty spiffy, Tim.
Well, not too bad considering what the old one looks like. We'll say no. It's a little bit newer. We had it was an '06 is what we had. This is a 2014. Not super new, but
well, it's better than the other one.
It does the job,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what we're looking at. Is if it does the job, we're fine. But Breadline Fridays from about 9:30 to 11:30, you can come. There's going to be and there's a little bit more than bread, but we call it a breadline. A lot of the focus usually ends up being like day-old breads, that we get from the grocery stores throughout the town. I mean, it's hard telling what you're going to get, and it's just come in at 9:30. They'll walk you through. They'll get you going, and sometimes there's even fresh produce if we've got it in there, and that's also taken to the other agencies and other food banks within Jasper counties. If we have overabundance of one thing, we'll make sure that we're sharing throughout the communities.
And let's talk about good old-fashioned cash. That goes a long ways to helping out.
It does. Monetary absolutely does, because if you really think about it, then we could actually purchase the stuff that is missing in between. We work very closely, with Hy-Vee and Fairway here in town. They give us the discounts that they can without hurting their bottom line too, because they have to make something because they have to keep the lights on too.
Sure.
Or, if you go to the salarmynewton.org, there's a donate button there. So if you want to do it electronically, that's the easy way to do it. Or you can send a check. We still absolutely accept checks, even though you don't see that much anymore. The 301 North 2nd Avenue East here in Newton.
Well, a couple things I want to mention. I was on WHO this morning. You know about my gig, and I want to thank the man who calls himself the fill-in daddy. Jeff Angelo's taken a couple of days off, and he did last week for the 4th of July, and he took today off, and he's taking tomorrow off. He'll be back again on Wednesday, and Matt Kittle filled in, and Matt always gets me on the air and is very kind to me. And we talked about the disaster that's going on in Texas.
Yes.
And I have to admit, Tim, I'm apologizing ahead of time that I was remiss, and I said, one of the organizations that always helps out in disasters is the Red Cross. And somebody on the text line said, don't forget about the Salvation Army.
All right.
And I should have known, because the Salvation Army always gets on the short end of the stick, because they're pretty much the first organization a lot of times that arrives when disaster happens. And I'm sure they're down there in Texas in the hill country helping out wherever they can. So I don't know if you have any info on that, but as we record this today, I'm sure that people want to contribute to the cause. You're looking on your computer right now to see if the Salvation Army is helping out with this. But if people want to contribute to the Salvation Army in disaster relief with what's going on in Texas right now, they can help out in some way, shape, or form.
One of the probably easiest ways there is go to the Salvation Army USA website, and then you can specify exactly where you're going to want it. In disasters, I will say cash is king, or credit cards, those type things. Part of it is because when you're in those disaster areas, you're not really sure what you're needing at the exact time. People are absolutely generous and want to help. But a lot of times in disasters, you don't have anywhere to store anything. So where ultimately, if you donate online through a local Salvation Army, and if you wanted to even donate here, I will make sure it gets moved on to Texas. We will absolutely send it that way. We have ways of doing that, especially in today's world. it is one of the things that absolutely, if you donate, I know I thought I saw 50 plus. I'm not sure what the latest number is.
Oh, it's up to 80 now.
Oh, it's 80? Okay.
Yeah, the 80 that have, and then there's
I'm
still
a little bit behind there, I guess.
Well, I'm a news junkie, and I was
Yep.
at WHO this morning, and
Right.
and there are several who are unaccounted for, so that sadly that number might rise. So unfortunately.
And what I would say is ultimately, in any situation, pray for the people involved.
Yes.
And one of the things, and there are other agencies that do it, but this has been a really big push for the Salvation Army and our disaster services, is our emotional and spiritual care. As I say, emotional. There's a lot going on when you look at a disaster. A person's going through a lot. And sometimes it just, it just takes somebody to lean on and cry on a shoulder. Most of our canteens, and those are the units that go out and serve in the disaster areas, getting food, water, all of those things. We usually have a person specifically that's all they do, is the emotional and spiritual care.
Yeah.
And I only say that because I am one of those trained people.
Sure you are. I know. I've heard you speak about it.
But that's one thing that's near and dear to my heart, because in those times, that's when people just need our help the most. And and I would say, and I know it sounds weird, but if you can donate, donate online so that we can turn that around and get exactly what they're needing, because there's probably prescriptions that have got lost, flooded away. There's lots of things that we don't realize that just kind of got washed away that people need.
Well, and getting back to the food pantry and also to your clothing closet that you have here, Tim, I will be the first to admit I don't know a lot about the Bible, but I was born and raised a Methodist, and I know that the Salvation Army was based out of the Methodist Church. And I will say, and I'm going to try not to get emotional about this, but I know that Jesus said something to the effect of, if you have clothed the naked, you have clothed me.
Right.
And if you have fed the hungry, you have fed me.
Right.
And so I always try to keep that in mind.
Yep.
So remember that. Help out with the food pantry however you can, because the need is great.
And you're helping your neighbor.
You bet.
I mean, you don't know what your neighbor's going through.
Exactly. So thanks for talking with us.
Absolutely.
We're going to do a little video here and try to get that online. That'll be, of course, on our YouTube channel, on the Out and About with Jamie Grout YouTube channel, and also on the outandaboutwithjamiegrout.com YouTube. It'll be on the face. I'm getting confused here. On the Out and About with Jamie Grout website. So check all that out. Captain Tim North of the Salvation Army, and of course his wife Peggy North, doing a great job helping people out around the area. If you can, bring by a canned good, non-perishable item of some kind. Bring it to the food pantry. Give us the hours for the food pantry here, Tim.
Food pantries is usually 9 to noon and 1 to 4.
Okay.
Because of staff, sometimes we're ending up being closing a little bit earlier. That's another reason why to give us a call.
Sure, you betcha. All right, thanks for joining us, Tim. This podcast has also been sponsored by Jersey Freeze in Monroe, Lynette Baker Halo Branded Solutions, and Westside Java Coffee Bar. Until next time, grrr, out is out. See ya.